Hello and welcome to Your Property Podcast. Today is a little bit different because we have already interviewed Paul Stapleton in the past. So we've got him back on to talk about working with LinkedIn as your main avenue to working with investors and finding deals. So Paul Stapleton specialises in creative strategies to invest into property without physically buying the asset. Strategies such as assisted sale, where you can make 200% plus ROI on a single deal, not to mention overage sourcing and strategies that will allow you to earn 5-figure commissions off every sourced deal. So that's a little bit of background about Paul. You can find out more about him through our previous interview. But for now, we're going to be diving straight into the conversation about LinkedIn and how you can best use that to raise your profile and raise the number of investors that you work with. Enjoy. Right, Paul, we're back. And we're going to be back talking about raising finance and finding deals on LinkedIn. It's an unusual angle. Well, not unusual for you, of course, because you've been doing this for years. But I think a lot of people use social media in the hope of building credibility, and it provides transparency, etc., for when people do eventually work with investors. I think there's this idea that when you work with an investor, the first thing they do is that they will look at your social media, which is the first thing I would do. But you're using it slightly differently, more proactive and more purposeful. So tell us about what it is you do.
Yeah, so I use it to target what I call my ideal investor. And I think the first thing that you need to do is really understand who that person is first, because if you don't know who you're looking for, you're not going to be able to find them. So that's the first thing. And I agree with you that typically people are going to go to social media for that point of clarification on who you are. And unlike any of the other platforms, the great thing about LinkedIn is that it actually has a tool to tell you when somebody has viewed your profile. And that's the bit of reassurance sometimes that you need. Sometimes when I put an offer forward through an estate agent, I will see that they're on my LinkedIn to see if it will back up and support my claims of who I am and what I do, and the service that I'm saying I can provide them to help them sell their properties. So every time you get that notification to say so and so has viewed your profile, it really does make you think, okay, I'm one step closer, because I'm confident that my profile, which effectively is your shop window, it's full, it's looking good, it paints a great picture of me, and it's got all the right content on there to justify why they should work with me.
Yeah. And you say about getting clear about who your ideal client is. So what does that mean? How do you break down the idea of investor into an ideal client?
So I think people work with people like them, and I work with lots of different people involved in property that all want to work with different people. And that's great because it makes it interesting. So I have people that are ex-doctors and practitioners that want to be known as the person that helps people within the NHS, particularly in like dentistry, the section that they're working in, to build a profitable property portfolio for their retirement, and give them some sort of cash flowing business outside of their day job. And that's great because they've got a clear goal and exactly who it is they're wanting to target. And then we can use the Boolean search tool, for instance, to target dentists in a specific area if they're location specific, and start networking with those people. But for other people, it might be that they're based in Manchester and they know that people in the south are really interested in investing in the north. So they might want to target people at CEO directorship level within businesses in London, for instance. And you can use the platform to target people in that way.
What if you don't know? So people starting out, they know that they'd like to grow their portfolio and work with investors. They know that they are credible and they've got some education and they know what they're doing. But how do they decide, or is it a dentist up north or is it an armchair investor down south? Does the location matter? Or can you attract people based on what you're doing rather than what they're doing. Makes sense?
Yeah, I think you need to know who you feel that you would be able to work with well. So I think that a lot of the younger generation might not favour towards working with people of retirement age. They might want to work with people of a middle age because they can relate to them more and they feel they'd have more in common. The language is the right language that they're using. Um, so sometimes it might be based on age, it might be based on demographic, it might be based on religion, community. I know lots of people that have a really strong community and they want to be known as that go-to person within their community, and that's great.
Yeah.
It might take you a while to find who that person is. At the very start, I was that person who was guilty of working with most anyone and everyone until I found who I worked with well. And it probably took a good solid 2 years until I realized, you know what? For me, it wasn't about working with the client directly. It was working B2B with people that had those clients. And I felt that I had a much better business to business relationship than I did business to client relationship. So I would
Mm.
work with companies like financial advisory firms that had investor databases, and they would do the sales for me or they would raise the finance for me. So I think it's a bit of trial and error at the start to understand who you want to work with. And I think we all have this idea of what we would like to do in property, whether I'd love to be the person in Birmingham for BRR, but in reality, when I start doing it, I realize I'm probably not knowledgeable enough or have the experience to do BRR. So I might have to take a step back. But until you try it, you never know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I spoke to a friend of mine recently, and she said she is in the NHS, and she's comes into contact obviously with lots of doctors and people with busy jobs and high salaries, and they say to her, they find out what she's doing, and then she said, "Well, how can we work together?" So for her, she's already got that niche, she's already got that rapport, she's got that experience within that industry, just like some people are in teaching or the police or whatever it is. Um, Sometimes skill sets and career choices can really help hone who you work with, and you've got that background already. I remember I worked with
Yeah.
an investor once, and she was an ex teacher, head teacher actually. So we spent half an hour talking about teaching and the woes of teaching life, but she ended up investing with me, and I do think that's because we were able to build rapport through something
A
that
lot
was
quicker. Yeah.
we had in common.
Yeah.
So
And also sometimes that is a ready-made base of people that you already have in your audience as well. So lots
yeah,
of
true.
people, yeah, lots of people will think, well, I've been in finance, I've been in insurance, I've been in recruitment for the last 10 years. So I probably have to build a fresh base of people. But the great thing about property is that anybody could be an investor or a landlord looking to sell a property. It's not specific to people that are only either in property or are stating on their CV that they are a property investor. There are lots of people out there that invest in property, but probably wouldn't class themselves as a property investor or a landlord. It's just
Yeah,
they invest in property. It's a vehicle just like bonds and ISAs are for them. So
yeah,
that's why I'm a keen advocate for people also networking outside of their industry, because I think some of the best relationships that I've made have been at non-property related events. They've been at business events, franchisee events, just local networking events, that kind of thing, because I'm not in a room full of my competition now.
yeah. That makes sense. And so when people are thinking of working with investors on LinkedIn, I think one thing that really makes people a bit nervous or puts them off posting is, FCA guidelines and that kind of thing about what they can and can't post. So, of course, we can post around what we're doing, and we can say, that we do work with investors, or we can have examples of projects we're doing or working on or whatever.
Mm.
But how do you get over that gap of really just saying, okay, who's in, who I've got a project, without it being subject to all these FCA rules?
Yeah. So I think credibility and educational content is going to be the way to do that. I think if you provide enough credibility and you provide enough education so people can see that you're an expert in the field that you're talking about, and you have a small call to action, which might be DM us to find out more about how we can work together. I think that's what I would call the curiosity line. And it's
Right.
just enough for someone to be curious to have that conversation away from the platform, instead of you
Yeah.
standing there with a big board saying, "We want your money for our next project."
Yeah.
And although
8% return.
sometimes that kind of like shock aspect might work for some people, it probably would have the opposite kind of result that you're looking for. So I'm a true believer that no pitching ever happens on the same platform that you generate a lead from. So if you're able to pull someone from LinkedIn to WhatsApp or to an email or to a Zoom, that's where the that business conversation happens. I think you use the platform for prospecting, lead generating, and then you take it away from the platform so that it feels very much more formalized than just the social element of the platform. I don't
Yeah.
believe in cold approaches as well. I don't know about you, but I get plagued every day with just copy paste messages that come in, and won't even give them the time of day. We've discussed many times things like polls where people will interact with your post and they'll vote on your post. That for me is that foot in the door to past someone as maybe a warm lead. They've interacted with some content you put out there that then warrants me to message them and thank them firstly for interacting on the poll, but maybe trying to engage a bit more in the answer that they gave on the poll to understand them better, and then looking to arrange something like a discovery call off of the platform to then
Yeah.
really understand who they are, what they're looking to do, and if there's any way that maybe that you can work together on the project.
That makes sense. And for a lot of people who aren't already in LinkedIn, like for example, I've got LinkedIn. I post every now and then, nowhere near what I should. I'm much more familiar with Facebook that I've used since day one. Pretty much Instagram, I'm like, okay, every now and then again I use it, but LinkedIn is just something that I've never really got familiar with. So for people who are in that situation where they think it just feels really clunky to me, and I don't know what it is, but
Mm.
I can't seem to kind of get my head around it. Now, yes, I could be posting more in terms of content and what I'm up to, but what do you suggest if, for people like me who are getting started with LinkedIn, what's an easy in to posting and what should they post about?
So I think an introduction to who you are is always the first thing that you do, and I think you should reintroduce yourself every single month to a new
Wow.
audience as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with reintroducing yourself. Um, People will need to know what it is that you do, what services you offer, and how you can work together. So posting around that is really important. Posting previous examples of your work or your service or your product, whatever it is that you're offering, is going to be really important. Just a good mix of there's four different types of content that I always think you should post. There's the educational value content, there's inspirational, motivational kind of content. You've got relatable content. That's the one where people are going to buy into whether they think they can work with you or not. And then there's the entertainment value content as well. Now, not everyone is suited to the entertainment value. That's going to be things like memes, and that's going to be things like you're standing outside a house and you're pointing to different bullet points on the financials of the property, things that people can watch. That's not necessarily what LinkedIn is built for. It's more business related, but there is still an element that those particular posts will do well. So I think if you're tapping into all four of those different content sections, you're appealing to the four different markets that are on there as well.
Yeah. And I guess how can people make it easy? So you've talked before about scheduling posts because, I think about things all the time, like, oh, that's a great post. And then, I'm off
Mm.
into the next task. So actually, how do you capture these ideas and how do you kind of schedule them in?
So I think it's all about planning your month, planning as many ideas as you can. And one idea doesn't have to be one piece of content. So if, for instance, you're wanting to generate leads because you're looking to start a project in, I don't know, let's say St. Helens, for instance, and you want to be selling people on what's going on in St. Helens, you could create the same piece of content in video format. Could be a blog, could be a vlog, could be like just a wordy kind of post. It might be a carousel that you want to create. It might just be a picture of the area that you want to create. So you could use the same piece of content and repurpose it in 5 different ways, and that could be put out once a week over the course of that month. So straight away, that's kind of creating multiple ways of putting that message out. The scheduling part of it is for me like the lifesaver, because as you know, we're busy people, we're traveling, we're speaking at events, we're podcasting, we're doing this, we're doing that. So it's not always possible to consistently post on the day that you want to. So the way I get around that is I tend to schedule all of my posts for the week on a Sunday evening. So I'll earmark a 2 hour period where I think about what I want to create, what message I want to put out, what kind of posts I want to be putting out for that week. And I'll create those, and using LinkedIn, it has its own scheduling software. I can ensure that no matter what I'm doing at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, I might be on a train up to Manchester, that will be going out. And that consistency will help your audience stay committed to you, supporting you on your posts and everything that you do. And it also helps with the algorithm as well. If you keep feeding the beast will feed you as well.
Yeah, so algorithms then are sort of a dark art really of how they work. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you're just kind of aimlessly posting and hoping for the best. And sometimes I think, wow, so that was a really good post, and like crickets, nothing. But it's because there's no tags, and I've got no idea about these algorithms, right? And it might be the wrong time of day, and just maybe not tagging other people in. So there's lots of things that people can do to boost their posts, because you're going to make all this effort to create the schedules, create the content. You want it to be seen by as many people as possible. So talk to us about algorithms and how they work.
So the thing with the algorithm on LinkedIn is it's not designed like it is for the other platforms to make people go viral. It's designed to connect the right content with the right people. So it's not about the amount of likes and comments, in my opinion, that you get. It's more to do with the conversions that you get. And because it's a business platform, there's going to be times when people won't want to actually comment or like, because that's visible, and they wouldn't want their competition to see that maybe you're interested with that person. So it's more so the result that you get in your DMs, which is what we're all doing it for, right? I'm not interested in getting 20,000 likes and getting 50 comments if it doesn't result in business. I'm more interested in there only being 5 likes but getting 2 inbound leads off of it. That's what I do it for. I do it for that conversion. So that's one part of the algorithm, is that it's not there to make you go viral. It is there to connect the right people together with the right content. But the second thing about the algorithm is that you don't have to have a large following for your post to go far. So if you're following people and people are connected with you that have larger followings and they're interacting and engaging with your content, that will then start to get pushed onto their followings and onto their followings feed. So unlike the other platforms whereby you might only have 500 followers and it's only 500 followers that are going to see your content, it's going to be my followers that get to see my content if people are engaging with it. And that's one of the things that I like, is that it's got a much broader reach. And the reach is kind of limited to your industry and sometimes to your area as well, which makes it a lot easier to know that the people it's reaching are the right people. With things like TikTok, for instance, it's global, and you're getting people from all over the world that you're probably never going to do business with. So it's understanding that it's giving you less views, but the views that it is going to is the right audience.
Right. And talk to us about these LinkedIn pods. So with obviously YPN, what we've been doing together is creating these WhatsApp groups and pods, and a 28-day challenge where people can join, find out about how to sort out their LinkedIn once and for all, how they can use LinkedIn to work with investors and build their profile, build their credibility, etc. And yeah, as part of that, being part of a group, everybody is supporting each other in boosting those posts. So,
Yeah.
how does the LinkedIn challenge work?
So the great thing about the LinkedIn challenge, I think, is that it offers a great amount of inspiration on what to post. So you're going to be in a group of 50 people, probably doing similar things to you are. And if you are sitting there with a bit of writer's block and somebody creates a post that you think, I really like that post, and I think I could recreate that into me and put it out differently, then that's a great thing. It gives you lots of inspiration. It also gives you the assistance of having people that are going to be liking and commenting on your post, which straight away you'll be exposed to their audiences and vice versa as well. There's also opportunity to network with people, which I think is really important. So understanding and seeing people's posts every single day, you might learn something about them that you didn't know and see an angle or an opportunity that maybe you can joint venture together or there's a way of collaborating. So there's lots of benefits of the 28-day challenge. I think the main thing is the accountability, is that it's really easy to say, yep, I'm going to post every single day. And you don't get to post every single day. But when you see that your peers in the group are able to do it, it is going to force you to think, right, well, really, if they're able to do it, I should as well. So I think the accountability is one of the biggest parts of having a LinkedIn WhatsApp group.
And getting to know, as you said, the other people in their group and ultimately their contacts as well is a huge part of it. And what we do with YPN, obviously we've got these challenges, but then we've got in-person events, and we're running one in June, so Saturday the 15th of June, where people can meet people in real life and then be posting about what they're doing, meeting the people that they're actually connected with online as well. So do you want to talk to us about the event and what's
Yeah, so
happening?
as you know, we're both really excited about the event, and I think it's a great place for people to come and learn. Great place for people to come and network, and I think for people to come away just feeling inspired as well, it's very rare, and we've had discussions before of my opinions of property events. It's very rare that you can go to a property event and leave feeling quite relaxed because you haven't been asked to get your wallet out and buy an expensive course, or just be taught enough, but just be left wondering, well, if I don't buy that course, am I missing out on something? And I think one thing that we were both really strong on was the fact that this was going to be a non-pitch event where people really can just come and have the best time of any property event that they've ever been to, with the best of the best within the industry, covering various strategies and topics, not only in property, but the other parts that we think are missing in education, which is entrepreneurship, business, social media. For a lot of people in property, it's their first introduction to running a business. And if you've never run a business before, sometimes no matter how good you are at finding deals and selling deals, you don't have that business element, then that's where you can quickly fail in business as well. So I think it's really important the way that we design the event, where we have the morning part, which is purely focused around property, and then the afternoon part, which is focused around entrepreneurship and business.
Yeah, we've basically just thought, right, okay, we get to pick anybody here, we get to pick the lineup, and we get to invite everybody from our communities to come to the event. And what would we want out of an event? Like, we want to be able to have time to network, have lots of great content, have lots of freebies as well, have food included.
Mm.
It's a bit, a great buzz about the event. It's stuck online because it's easy, convenient. You don't have to pay for a hotel. You don't have to go out and get all dressed up. And it's I think just because it's easy doesn't mean it's necessarily what people want. I think people really do want to connect with people in real life,
Yeah.
and this is a great opportunity. I know I personally am stuck, behind a computer a lot of the time, just talking to people, and it'd be great to actually meet those people in person. So this is
Yeah.
the opportunity
And
to do that.
I think you'll be meeting a lot of people that you probably already feel like you know, because you've followed each other on social media for so long. And sometimes our personal friend circles and our families aren't the best supportive network that we need in order to be successful on this road of entrepreneurship. Sometimes people don't understand it and why we take the risk that we do to leave a comfortable 9 to 5 and go into property and set up business and stuff like that. So meeting people on that same journey as you that maybe you don't already have around you can be the difference between you actually making a success of your business and not being successful, because property is problematic, right? I'm sure you've had your fair share of problems. I know I have. And I know
Well,
without having those supportive people around me and people that are doing the thing that I want to be doing to call upon when the problems do happen to get those solutions has been an absolute game changer. So I'm excited to meet some people that we've been training and speaking to for a long time. I'm really important to hear from a lot of the speakers outside of their own events. I feel like we will have a very different version of them where they're not pitching a product and it's someone else's event, so they don't have the stress of everything that comes with hosting that event. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited about the free food. I think I've looked at so many food vendors that I've got myself so excited about that. And I think that's a nice little add on. I'm excited to see people taking away a lot of freebies, a lot of free books from a lot of our speakers, professional headshots for their LinkedIn profiles, and just lots of giveaways that we're going to be doing on the day as well.
yeah, I think you're right about, the inspiration and the buzz and just that relaxed vibe where people can come and meet everybody and get connected and also take something away. So, yes, they'll have a goodie bag and they can take that away. What do you think they will be taking away from the speakers in terms of actionable points? Because sometimes it's great to kind of just hear case studies about what's possible, but actually having concrete tips. And obviously we've invited some really key speakers, Daniel Priestley, for example, who is big in the entrepreneurial space. So having access to him and hearing him talk live, it's really going to not just inspire people, but actually give them lots of tips that they can go out and take action the next day.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why even in the brochures that everyone will get when they attend, each speaker has their own page for notes as well. So we expect people to be filling those pads up and taking away so much actionable knowledge. But look, no matter what strategy you're looking to do, we've tried to kind of cover that with the speakers. And like you said, it's all well and good hearing success stories all the time. But we don't learn a huge amount from success stories. We learn a lot from people's failures and the things that they've done wrong and negative feelings and emotions and stuff like that. So lots of people may look at something like commercial to residential as a really big kind of project for them to do, and it's scary and they don't understand it. But listening to two of the most successful commercial to residential developers in the UK talk about 10 different ways that you can use permitted development, which makes it a lot easier than needing planning gain to enter that market, will be sensational. Listening to someone like Jackie, who's raised millions of pounds worth of private investor finance to fund and build out her portfolio, is a place where lots of people would love to be, and hearing how she did that from the grassroots up will be amazing. Listening to Rob Moore talk about getting over feeling overwhelmed and imposter syndrome and the kind of mindset you need to be an entrepreneur, again, where he is at his level, it might seem quite far away from you, but it's still something he probably still has to overcome, even at the level he's at. We all do. So I think hearing it from some of the biggest names will be fantastic. But at the same time, we also have some names that are less well known, that still equally can provide some exceptional value. And it might feel like they're more relatable to you at the level that you're at as well. And I think one thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that there is the option of having a VIP experience as well. So sitting in the front rows, having a VIP goodie bag, being closer to the speakers, and then enjoying a VIP lunch in a special room in the event, where you'll be sitting down having a sit down lunch with our special guests that we've invited and also the guest speakers as well. There's also
and
going
you.
to, and us, and us. I mean, like, if unless we're running around like headless chickens,
we're not going to be running around, Paul. We'll be sitting there with our glass of wine and drink.
Definitely. But being able to have, like, in the VIP room, we've got an exclusive personal branding masterclass during that period as well. It's that additional thing that the other people won't be getting, and I think it's something that people really would benefit from as well. So there's so much value to be had at the event. I think ticket prices are extremely reasonable for the amount of value you're getting and for coming to an event where there is no pitching. Historically, they are going to be low ticket prices, but you're going to be paying 5-10 grand on the exit. So this really is something we're going to, I think when it's finished, we're going to feel so proud with the feedback we get from people, and the feedback of how much people have really enjoyed it and implemented everything that they've learned at the event.
Yeah, great. Well, let's summarize that in it just come to me right now, actually, a triangle. So the most important things in property is finding the deals, finding the investor, and having your business hat on as well. So in the middle, you're going to have all these just different strategies, but they are the cornerstones to what people do. So how people make progress in the property world, they're going to need the deals. So we're going to be having property filter. They're going to do a demo for us, and you can be able to see what they're up to and how you can find the best deals from the most motivated sellers. And then you are going to be able to learn from the likes of Jackie or Simon Zucci, about how to raise that private finance and work with investors and get the funds. And then we've got the entrepreneurial space as well, where you've got your business hat on and you're thinking in a more strategic business sense. So we've got everything covered. We've got all the strategies in there, and it's going to be a fun and fab day. It's going to be great to see everybody in person, meet people, and connect in real life. So
Yeah. And we've got
how
the
can people
panel
find
as
them?
well for the Q&A, which
Of
is going to be
course.
really cool. So 45 minutes of picking your brains, that you're going to be hosting it. We've got Sad Hussein, John Howard, and Hayley Andrews all on that panel. So it's a really, really prime opportunity for people to ask questions to some of the best mentors in the industry, which you would never have access to unless you join their courses or their masterminds. So that in itself is the investment into your ticket, just to be in a position to ask your burning questions as well.
Yeah, and I hear what other people are asking. It's always interesting to see what questions other people are asking and where they are putting their focus. So, yeah, getting the panel and to talk it through and just giving their feedback on what's coming up is going to be really valuable as well. So, lots and lots to cover, and lots involved in the event. And we look forward to seeing everyone there. So we will include the link to sign up in the show notes, so you can find the link below and come and join us.
Yep, love to see you all there.
Great. All right then. Well, have fun, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in person.
Take care.